Ready, Karthik?
Yes, ma'am. Please start.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second interactive session for Introduction to Film Studies. And I know there was a little confusion the other day. We have rectified it. So what we decided was that we will ask you to redo the assignments, and we have posted new assignments that correspond to the videos. Okay, so it was just a technical glitch. We had cross-checked and checked so many times, but somehow it so happened that our list or our chronology clashed with the chronology of the way lectures were put up. So it was purely unintentional, and we are all sorry about it. You'll have to just redo the assignments for weeks 2 and 3 and resubmit. We have sent you a mail also to this effect. So yeah, that is I'm responding to the first question on reviewing. Yeah, so the quiz for week 4. On first glance, the questions do not seem related to the topic of intertextuality. I look at it again. See, week 2 and 3 have been done. I had no option but to leave week 2 assignment unattempted. If you haven't attempted, it's good. All right. We have resubmitted week 2 and week 3 assignments. Please take a look. We will carefully go through the rest of the weeks also. If you are saying week 4 doesn't match, if you say so, because we corrected week 4 and we saw that everything is matching. But if you have any doubt, then I'll ask my team. I'll also take another look at the assignment as well as the lecture. Okay, it has got nothing to do with any serious fault or negligence. It's just that our list, the chronology did not match the way it was scheduled on the website. That's all. So Aditya, so yeah, coming back again, let me repeat. Candidates, please note that weeks 2 and 3 assignments have been new and revised assignments have been uploaded. Kindly look at it and submit accordingly. Aditya Kumar, film appreciation course, and you got very good marks there. Very nice. How is this? No, actually, film appreciation is a little advanced level. Let me tell you that again, because what I have done in film appreciation, it was not at all touched in Introduction to Film Studies. But most of the major items or sections or modules from Introduction to Film Studies are present in film appreciation. Because the idea is that people who have gone through Introduction to Film Studies, they will appreciate film appreciation better. So therefore, you will come across Iranian cinema, and focus on African cinema, Swedish cinema in film appreciation, Greek cinema also. All these things are not done in Introduction to Film Studies. Film appreciation is of a slight higher order, higher level. So I don't know how to respond. If you are interested in maybe, a couple of topics would be different and new in Introduction to Film Studies. But if you have done film appreciation, then very nice. And film appreciation is much more exhaustive and comprehensive. Karan, I have already responded to you. You sent me a mail today and I have responded to you. You have other question? I have mailed you the film, yeah, but I didn't get a response. No, that's not correct. I responded to you. Karan, I responded to you, and please check your mail, and I have responded to you. There is an issue regarding assignment quiz. Yes, we have done it. We have rectified it. Okay. Don't worry too much about transcripts. Transcripts, if you look at all across the world, even, and let me assure you that our transcription, our subtitles and transcriptions were done by humans, and it is not auto-corrected. Okay, so let me assure you, if it's still, you find errors here and there, it is something like, while typing, there must have been some mistake. Otherwise, correction was done very well from our end. We got the written transcriptions and we corrected it. Maybe when it was reloaded, uploaded, there's some kinds of, some auto correction happened over there, but it was not, basically it is not done by a machine or artificial intelligence. We have corrected our transcripts. We were very 100%, very sure, 100% certain that we haven't made any mistake. But while uploading it, something must have gone wrong. We don't want to bother our NPTEL team repeatedly because we have very few staff, and then you have to understand that it's not just one course. They are handling thousands of courses. Over the years, the numbers of NPTEL courses the volume has increased exponentially. So it is, we feel bad about overloading our staff and going to them for every little correction. So my request would be that, look, understand the context. The video quality is very good. And whatever I'm saying, you please go according to that. Don't look at the transcripts. Monica Jos, doing PhD in film studies. Very nice. English literature professor. I don't know how to suggest ideas because there are so many ideas. If you have ideas and if you want, some kind of advice from me, please revert to me on my mail. You have my mail, and I'll be able to guide you. But in the sense, I will be able to give you advice. No promises about research guidance at IIT because admission at IIT Madras for PhD PhD program is a very, very complex and very rigorous process. So cannot guarantee you anything there, but you please look around and improve your reading and see what are the topics that interest you. Um, there is Muskan. Is it Muskan Swami? Are you the same Muskan Swami who wrote to me? Can you just verify? Muskan Swami? Muskan, are you Muskan Swami? Because I got a mail from you, one Muskan a couple of months back. Are you the same person? There are so many movies. Could you recommend 10 to 15? No, it's not possible. An evaluation exam, no, it's not possible. For evaluation, I'm going to ask you only 10 to 15. You have to look at, because see, already a lot of work has been done for you here. We have given you the list of reading, list of books, assignments are there in front of you. So for end semester exam, you have to watch the videos and keep watching the movies as much as possible. Although we are not going to ask very intense, rigorous questions like whatever is mentioned in the lectures, everything will be asked. So not like that. And it is difficult to give you this so-called important questions and all that, because it's after all an MCQ type of paper, right? It is not an essay type. Please suggest some books. The list of books or readings is already there on the web page, and it has. If you are not able to see it, then you please send us a mail, and we will share the list of readings through discussion forum also. It is there. Okay. Misa is asking, how might a film critic approach these intricate nuances? No, there is no arranged fashion as such. Okay, but what you're talking about basically is something called mise-en-scène. And mise-en-scène is very vast, and people use mise-en-scène as a way of understanding a film. Very common example, the opening scene from The Godfather, one of the most important films ever made from the standpoint of film studies. So the opening scene has a tight close-up of Bonacera. He's an undertaker, and he talks about how and the first opening scene itself is called, the scene opens with the dialogue. The movie opens with the dialogue, I believe in America. And we see just the silhouette of the Godfather as played by Marlon Brando. Okay, and it all takes place in a very dim lit, dark, heavily curtained kind of a room. Okay, and men talk in whispers. They don't shout. They don't have loud voices. Whereas right outside the window in the lawn, the Godfather's daughter is getting married. So the wedding scene. So the wedding scene is juxtaposed with the Godfather's underworld world, the dark world. And the wedding scene is shot in bright lights, pleasant colors, cheerful music, lots of people assembled, and loud cheering and dancing and music. And we are introduced to the major characters. Whereas the interior, it is dark, it's whispery, it's shadowy. So the shadowy world of the underworld. So that's how we understand the opening shot of The Godfather. So it is nuanced, but that's not the only way to understand a movie. You have to understand certain theories also. So Pratik Kabra wants to know 3 colors type of plot, or is it a genre blending example? Not really, not really. It is a very philosophical, typical French existentialist kind of a theme. Doesn't blend genres. Rather, it is a commentary on the human condition in contemporary times. It's an existentialist commentary, and the idea that all men, people are we live in a state of alienation. We do not really have much of a human connection. So there is a deeply philosophical. We got the YouTube links of the live session. Could it be Zoom meeting link so that would it be possible to get the Zoom meeting link? So, okay, I'll ask Mr. Karthik to share it. And Anirudh is asking, can you share the Zoom link? Okay, we'll do it later. Okay, Rahul is asking, naturalism and realism. Realism and magical realism. So, realism is being true to life. Naturalism is also being true to life, but naturalism tries to capture the underbelly of the human mind. Realism tries to give a more, let's say, an idealized picture of human condition. Naturalism tells us that human beings are naturally bad. There are lots of films that represent naturalism. Satyajit Ray is a master of realism. Okay, but then you will find several contemporary filmmakers Lars von Trier, for example, and his films can be categorized in the realm of naturalism. He tells us, his movies show us that human beings are essentially, beyond redemption. They are very realistic movies, but then he also shows you the ugliness of life. In realism, the ugliness is sort of, glossed over. Although Satyajit Ray, demonstrated a lot of Indian poverty, but it was not ugly, dirty, filthy poverty. It was often said that he sort of, whitewashed our poverty, which could be true because he is not dealing with in the realm of or dealing with the genre of naturalism. He is more of a realist. So even when the child dies in Pather Panchali, so you have Ravi Shankar's music there, you have the beautiful rain scenes, train scenes, and all. So those are iconic scenes. So he's showing nobility and beauty in poverty. And he has been criticized for it unfairly. Nevertheless, so that's the difference. I mean, I can just, on top of my head, I can give you these examples. That realism is tries to be as real to life, slice of life, but at the same time, it skirts around the issue of gross ugliness of life. Magic realism is very different. It has got very little to do with realism. They say it is realism, but then certain kinds of interventions happen which make it appear as if it's a very postmodernist concept. So realism, magic realism is postmodernism. What they are trying to do through the intervention of this magical realism device is highlighting certain themes and issues. Okay, so masters of magical realism. So Salman Rushdie, of course, Midnight's Children. Things happen, they are quite inexplicable. Marquez, for example, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So these are exponents of magical realism. Because we are doing cinema studies, so let's think of a film like Shokola. Shokola is a Johnny Depp movie, Juliette Binoche and Johnny Depp. And the woman makes chocolates, and by her chocolate, because through the power of her culinary skills. And what culinary skills? She is a master in the art of chocolate making, chocolatier. So because of that, she can change personalities, she can change human characters, she can transform ugliness into beauty. Now see, you eat a piece of chocolate, you think that people, the idea is that if you give this chocolate to somebody, he will love you more. If you give this chocolate to somebody, you will gain more confidence, things like that. But in real life, it doesn't happen. But then what she is trying to do is that she's trying to heighten the realism. She's putting out certain kinds of problems in front of us, and then through the device of magic realism, she's drawing greater and stronger attention to that. Is it possible to integrate the clips and in the videos? Would be, see, we have been told not to show the clips. That is the problem because of copyright. Otherwise, they will put they can temporarily halt our videos. It has been done to other people, not to me. It has been done to someone else, where they try to incorporate clippings while in the lectures, and then there was some kind of a halt on it for a couple of days, and then students were inconvenienced. So I don't want that to happen. So I always think that if I tell you that, watch this clipping from here to there, and everything is available on YouTube. Whatever is available in YouTube, you just have to look it up. If you are watching the videos, You just have to look it up. And I'll let me also tell you, because this issue comes up very frequently. Now, there are people who do these kinds of lectures, maybe in foreign universities and other places, and they're able to show film clippings. What happens there is they have, huge deal of sponsorship, and the university sometimes obtain copyright through the library and other multimedia. We don't have such huge resources for these kinds of things. Okay, so therefore, it is all a matter of how much resources you are able to pump in. So if someone tells me that, okay, this course is running, and perhaps, we will be able to buy the copyright permission. People, I mean, other universities, foreign universities are doing it. Unfortunately, it doesn't really have worked that way in our circumstances. But then, nevertheless, I would suggest that you watch the watch the videos, and then you can always access the clippings on your own. They are very accessible, and everything is available on YouTube. Yes, Madhuram, the final exam would be MCQ. No change there. Assignments, and yeah, and don't worry, and please don't forget to respond to the revised assignments, weeks 2 and 3. I'll ensure that this confusion doesn't happen again. However, you please submit the assignments, the revised assignments on time. Okay, all right. So there is a question that filmmakers, film critics usually overanalyze. These questions, or these statements by filmmakers or authors, they are no longer relevant, because film critics or literary criticism, it is a very different kind of a genre, domain. We analyze it through certain perspectives, through certain theories. The director may not be aware of it, or maybe if they are aware of it, they were not thinking of it. But it is our job to understand the subtext also. So we do our job, they do their job. There is no such thing as over analysis. Shakespeare is read and reread by every fifth year or 10th year. Okay, and people find new meanings in all his lines. So it really, so all nowadays, we have seen that there is, every text is open to any kind of interpretation. So we live in a postmodern, post-truth kind of a world. All kinds of interpretations are possible, they are happening. And the creative artists, they have to accept it. They may like it or they may not like it, but it will happen. There was a great literary critic, Roland Barthes. In 1969, he wrote this seminal essay called Death of the Author, in which he says the author is dead, the artist is dead. Once it completes the work of art, the text is in the hands of the reader, and reader can analyze, interpret, and add any kind of meaning or layer to it. David Fincher's use of blue and yellow in most of his films. Okay, so Zodiac and Fight Club, that girl, what was that girl with us? Dragon tattoo. Yes. And Seven, of course, is a classic. Yes. So all these films, they have blue and green and yellow palette. Why? He is not making happy movies. He's making movies about the darker side of the human nature. At the same time, you have the beautiful palette, the candy color palette of Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson is showing you Holocaust in one movie, okay, or a dysfunctional film in another, family in another movie. But his color palette is always bright. That's the kind of a filmmaker he is. He's, so he actually goes into the realm of, magical realism. He's trying to heighten realism by going into the realm of magical realism by drawing our attention to the color palette. And term exam would be MCQ. Assignments will are going to cover quite a substantial portion, 15 to 20%. Could be more also. We will let you know the breakup. Don't think too much of those things. Woody Allen's Match Point. What about it, Rahul? Yeah, Match Point. Are you talking about naturalism? Yes, naturalism in Match Point. Also, the movies that he based in England, Cassandra Dreams, and the other movie that he made with Hugh Jackman and Scarlett Johansson. What was that movie called? That was another Woody Allen movie. Hugh Jackman and Scarlett Johansson movie. It was called the Woody Allen movie, I think Scoop. Yeah, not the Prestige. Prestige is very different, but the Scoop. So these three movies together, his English movie, the so-called British movies, they are all very naturalist. Midnight in Paris could also be a take on magic realism. Yes, quite possible. It is actually indeed a dreamlike state and all. There's a question on spine of a movie. Perhaps, the basic plot. Does that mean, does it mean that spine of a movie, basic plot? And see, like, human body has a spine, and without a spine, you can't stand. You will bend anywhere if someone pushes you. So spine of a film could be the basic plot. That's what I think. And spine of any film should not be interfered with. So if it is a certain kind of a movie, don't try to turn it into something else altogether. That is. Want to know what made you get it? Oh, this is personal. But Karan Singh, first let me ask you if you have received my response. You sent me something and I have responded to you. Okay, so what made you interested in this field? Academically, I was interested, literature and drama background. So people with literature and drama and background in drama, they naturally gravitate towards films. Quite possible that they don't gravitate towards films, but I liked films always. And then maybe in my early 20s, I started watching films from an academic perspective and watched a lot of films which were based on great novels, great plays, and kept on watching movies, not just Hindi movies. I'm a Hindi speaker. I come from Indore, Madhya Pradesh. So not just Hindi films, but started with Hollywood films like most of us. We had very good video libraries, fortunately. And I'm talking about the 80s and the 90s. And we had very good video libraries in our city. We could also get videos from here and there. I mean, from bigger cities, we whenever we would travel, and we were interested. So watched a lot of movies. Yeah, like most people of my generation, from Hindi movies, I shifted to watching a lot of Hollywood movies. Godfather was one of the earliest English movies that I had watched. Hollywood movies, classics, basically classics. And then then we later on we attend film societies, etc., here and there in other towns, and we get exposed to world cinema. So that's how my interest in other cinemas of other languages, including a regional cinema, developed. So yeah, so that's how I got into it. At the time when I was a student, although I consider myself a student even today, but when I was really pursuing very structured studies, so there was very limited opportunities to do PhD in film studies. We wouldn't have guides who would be willing to do these things. So therefore, drama was the natural choice. And after that, once I got more settled in my professional life, and then I started reading and developing these courses, reading more about films academically and developing these courses, and then writing about it. And yeah, so here I am. So yeah, before we wind up, let's wind up within the next 6-7 minutes. If there are other questions, I would be happy to respond. Otherwise, just let me repeat again. I look at the chronology of the videos again, and if the assignments are corresponding. However, we have fixed the issue of weeks 2 and 3. So please look at the revised assignments, and please respond and submit at the earliest. Other videos we will look at, and we'll send you a mail through the discussion forum. If there is any issue, then we will again inform you. Otherwise, you can track week 2 and 3. When you refer Satyajit Ray as a realist filmmaker, yes. And remember, he was highly influenced by Italian neorealism. Don't forget that. I mean, if there is one cinematic movement that had the maximum impact on Ray, that was Italian neorealism. And don't forget, I think I mentioned it somewhere, that he also assisted the great Jean Renoir. When Renoir came shooting at the Ghats of Banaras for his movie, The River. So Ray was a young man then, and he assisted Renoir. And I think it was at that point that he started getting more and more interested in world cinema and the aesthetics of cinema. Renoir was also a poetic realist, and then the Sitcha's Bicycle Thieves was a very influential text on a generation of filmmakers. And why just see, Ray was a pioneer, but then after Ray also we had Govind Nihalani and Mrinal Sen and Shyam Benegal. You watch Ankur, Nishant and Manthan, the trilogy of Shyam Benegal, Ankur, Nishant and Manthan. And you will realize how realistic, totally, in the Satyajit Ray and the Sitcha school of filmmaking. Swastika, reading list be shared. See, reading list is there on the web page. Please look it up. Otherwise, I'll copy paste from the web page and send it to you via email. There is a reading list. I'm very sure of it. Look at the course, the NPTEL website, and go to our course page, web page of this course, and you will find. Okay, John Doe could be seen as a fictional persona of the author when Doe's. Okay, yeah, perhaps we can analyze it that way also. Mm, what seven does see at a very surface level? I will just without getting into authorial meanings and all that. It talks about alienation in city. Basically, you see, the young couple lives in a city in a house that shakes every time a train passes by. It presents a very precarious, unstable nature of life in big cities, especially mega cities. And we have a handful of filmmakers who present spaces as very threatening places, especially cities sort of people I mean they are not just spaces where you can have development and civilization and commerce and art and culture, but then it also gives birth to something very cynical and sadistic in all of us. And the sheer nature of cities is such, the spaces are such that it leads to alienation and distance between human beings, the disconnect between all of them try to find some human connection. Even John Doe, by his act of killing people, murdering people, he is also trying to find some kind of a connect because you see, he has spent so much time as a loner. He's an intellectual, he's a philosopher. Not that I mean that all intellectuals and philosophers take to murder. But then I think the basic premise is alienation. Yeah, it's a cult movie. It is not for everyone. I mean, you try screening this film for a very different kind of audience. Many people would walk away. It is not for everyone. It is just like Tarantino movies. There's so much Kill Bill and all, so much of bloodshed there that not everyone can stomach it. What is this question? You spoke of body horror, but we neither see the mutilated bodies. Oh no, but the sense is there, the head. And you don't have to see, because see, it's not a B grade movie where you will find severe heads being thrown about. Although there are so many movies in which you see those things also. Okay. For example, Tarantino wouldn't hesitate in showing a severed head. I'm very sure he showed a severed arm uh, and a severed eye in Kill Bill. So we are used to the level of mutilation that Tarantino is capable of. Okay. Pincher sort of hints at many things. He is not, he creates an environment, an atmosphere. So therefore, Tarantino shows all that bloodshed, but it doesn't affect us so much. But you watch, perhaps, it is David Fincher's Mise-en-scène that creates more impact. And there are some things that are just hinted at, and that's enough to create a sense of terror. The visible violence, which was anyway normalized through slasher films. The choice to not show the head in the film. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, slasher film, but Tarantino is also very fond of slasher films. So, he shows lots of mutilated body parts, but not everybody would do that. There's so many. See, in Wes Anderson, there is an idea that people are dying and killed and they're wasted away. But you don't see the ugliness of it. He tries to again using tropes of mise-en-scène, magic realism. He and also long shots. You don't see tight close-ups in Wes Anderson. And then he keeps on playing with the color palette. Sometimes it's black and white, and then candy colors and saturated colors and all. So it's all very interesting what he does with, using the color palette. He tries to convey certain ideas and themes. All right, people. I'm winding up now. It's about time. So all your assignments and your MSEM will be MCQ type. And you please read, please look at weeks 2 and 3 assignments and respond. I will look at, personally look at all the remaining videos and ensure that, this confusion, this glitch doesn't happen again. So take care, all the best, and we'll meet sometime in the last week of September. So God bless and take care, and